Well, Rob, we're so happy to have you here today. Thank you so much for your time and your support.
It's my pleasure to be here. It's always great to work with you and with FIU.
And so you're with the National Weather Service. Let's start in general first. Telling everyone, what is the National Weather Service? What do they do? Who are they?
Well, the National Weather Service is a federal government agency. It's made up of 122 local weather forecast offices. These are offices located all across the country, and in South Florida we have the Miami Forecast Office, and we are responsible for all the forecasts and warnings for the South Florida region.
So in South Florida, we have a lot of natural hazards, of course. We can have hurricanes, storm surge, extreme flooding. Your office is involved with education on these hazards when it comes out to watches and warnings, but safety, preparedness, mitigation. Let's talk with those hazards a little bit about your approach to those things for the public.
A big part of our community outreach program involves giving presentations and talks to community groups on hazards such as hurricanes. Of course, hurricanes is South Florida's biggest natural hazard threat. Flooding, extreme heat, severe thunderstorms, gusty winds, even fire weather too, especially out in the Everglades and other rural areas. So we educate people on what they need to do if they're under threat from any one of those weather hazards, and we give them the information that they need to, as far as how to get the information, what sources of information are out there to receive the information, and as far as also knowing what to do, how to prepare themselves, their families, and their homes to protect themselves against these weather hazards. We provide a lot of our information in Spanish, and we're even working on Creole. So we do recognize, obviously, the many different communities here in South Florida. There are also many apps out there that people can get, where people can get alerted and get the alerts right away. It's also very important that we partner with our emergency managers at the county and city levels, universities like FIU, for example, partnering together where we can pool our resources and pool our stakeholder groups together. We can more efficiently get that information out, and we can rely on each other to help us magnify the message.
And in recent years, there's been more of an emphasis on excessive heat. Can you kind of define what is excessive heat, and what's some of the new terminology and the new ways of approaching heat in South Florida?
So we have heat advisories, which are issued for heat that still can be dangerous but at a lower level of threat, and then we issue extreme heat warnings, which is the highest level of warning. That's when the temperatures are high enough that most of the population could be at danger if they don't take precautionary measures. We've been working with Miami-Dade County, specifically as part of the Miami-Dade County Heat Health Task Force. The main objective of that task force is to find ways to educate the public of the dangers of heat, also adjusting our advisory and warning thresholds to better fit temperatures at which these heat illnesses start occurring. There are days that are hotter than others, and those are the days where we especially want people to take precautionary measures so that they avoid being a victim of heat illness. Drink lots of water, limit your time outdoors, wear light-colored loose clothing. All that stuff is so important.
Touching upon the science of this and the urban heat island effect, this has a big play on all of this.
Yeah, studies have shown that in large urban areas, such as South Florida, Miami specifically, there is a difference in the temperatures in that urban core where there's more concrete, absorbs heat and releases that heat slower at night. So those temperatures in urban areas can often be several degrees higher than the outlying suburbs. So that's been a big focus of our educational efforts and in our partnership with Miami-Dade County's Heat Health Task Force.
And you mentioned one way to get out into the community, hurricane preparedness workshops, talk about excessive flooding and so on. Those have been very successful, correct? I mean, you're meeting the people in where they live.
Absolutely. Yeah, we take part in hurricane preparedness expos and fairs all across the community. We either participate or run exercises with our partner organizations. Many times we'll hear, are we going to have a bad hurricane season, or are we going to get hit? Really, the main message that we want to get across to them is, are you prepared? Mm-hmm. Do you know where to get the information from when there's a hurricane or some other weather system threatening South Florida? Do you know which community to reach out to get information as far as evacuation areas, shelters?
So you've talked about how you're helping all of us in these various communities, flipping it back. How can these communities best work with you?
Understanding what their needs are, understanding what some of their issues are when it comes to areas that are vulnerable to flooding, for example, or extreme heat, like we talked about earlier. Yeah, we talk about areas, for example, areas that are flood prone, that maybe have more flood prone than other neighborhoods, mm-hmm. and sometimes that could even be at a very, very micro scale level. It could be literally just a few streets mm-hmm. within a neighborhood. We can send out a flood warning, mm-hmm. for example, earlier than maybe we would have normally done had we not had that information.
Any new innovative programs upcoming, something new coming up that you'd like to share?
I think one of the things that we'll probably see a bit more of is the way in which we provide preparedness information. It's becoming more visual now, using like virtual reality tools and things like that, so people can actually visualize what a hurricane would look like, for example, in their neighborhood, and they can visualize what a storm surge really is. You can tell someone you have a threat of 6 feet of storm surge flooding on your street or in your house. Well, what does that really look like? Well, there's some virtual reality work being done that actually can show water and kind of rising inside of a home or in a neighborhood, so people can get a better sense of, okay, wow, when they say 6 feet, that's very deep water. That's dangerous. So that'll mitigate losses, and really especially loss of life.
Well, Rob, we can't thank you enough, and your team and the National Weather Service office here in South Florida serving our community. We thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for your time today and being a great partner with us here at FIU.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much. Again, it's always great to work with FIU, and it's great to work with the community. So thank you very much.